It is time for our Taking Care of Business segment, and this morning we welcome Bruce and Mike to the program. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
All righty, I'll tell you what, let's have you introduce yourselves, and you guys are with Homerwood, so introduce yourselves and tell us how long you've been with Homerwood.
I'm Bruce Powell. I'm the finishing line manager, and I've been with Homerwood for 13 years.
All right, Mike?
And I'm Mike Wunderling. I am the EHS and mill production manager. I've been with Homerwood actually for almost 14 years. Yeah.
And we'll get into what you just said there in just a second. We'll ease into that. So tell us about Homerwood. What is Homerwood?
We're a hardwood flooring manufacturer. We've been in business for 30 years, a little over 30 years. We manufacture solid 3/4 inch hardwood from sizes from 4 to 8 inches. We also finish it. We do a lot of customs, where we will do hand scrape, wire brush, smoke, specialties, whatever. Pretty much whatever you want done, to something we could do it.
We're going to get into some of the clientele you guys have served because it's really fascinating. But let's kind of go back to the beginning of Homerwood. You said about 30 years. How did it start?
Well, it started with John Homer. He was the original owner back in '84. He actually had a business, the facility started out on Water Street in the old Drake Penn barrel house. I had to think back there. So then he actually moved that facility to the location where it is now in '86.
And that's what, Industrial
Drive, And actually at that point when he first started, he only had about 4 or 6 people. And when we moved to that location in '86, it's about the same. And he did a lot of custom moldings and inlays to floors and that. And in '91, he actually had a fire at that location and just wiped out all his tooling.
I remember that.
And so then he rebuilt, and still small amount of people there. In ¡98, he actually took on a partner with Doug Bolton from Weyerhaeuser, where he actually managed, went back to Portland, who was a manager there. And so they actually started producing a little bit more, and they were a lot of unfinished. When he actually came back into the business in '91 after the fire, he got away from the moldings because of all the loss of the knives and inserts, and it was just too much, and he went to solid hardwood flooring and actually manufactured what he trademarked character grade flooring, where a lot of the people were putting in select floors, no knots and that. Well, he actually thought, let's leave in some of these what people think are imperfections. So he trademarked the name character grade, and then that was the take from there. And that. So then everybody else started getting on the bandwagon and that.
Now, when you talk about the character grade, is that when the Amish influence came in? No, that's later.
Actually, this was before that. And then actually in 2002, this is about the time where I started working there, where we actually were about 100 people. And
wow,
we
100 people.
100 people.
Mm-hmm.
And we started boosting up to where they actually put more investment in equipment, and they actually were at that time going from an unfinished product where it had to be sanded on the job site to where they were doing more pre-finished, where they would take it to a manufacturer at the time, and they would put a top coat on there, and then we would send it out to the customers, and they would only have to install it, and they would be done. But in 2002, where they actually hit the market again with this product, where we had Amish guys come in and they would scrape the flooring, they would distress it, which at that time everybody was doing it on the site at the home. So you'd have a homeowner saying, hey, I want my floor distressed, and you have someone come in and they would show a couple samples of a guy that had done it. Well, then they would leave, then the people would work at it on the floor. But the problem is that it might not be the same guys that distressed it. So now when you come home, it's like, well, that ain't what I saw. So what we had done, we came up with concept that we're going to pre-finish this, where someone could buy a box, lay it out, and it's already distressed, and that's what you're going to get. If you didn't like it, package back up in the box, and send it back, So, but we have Amish guys that would come in there and they would scrape all day long.
Wow.
So we kind of took a niche on that where it's, the Amish are good at craftsmanship, Pennsylvania Dutch, working at it. So it's been that, and we've been doing that for 14 years now.
That's incredible. But you again, going back to what you said, 4 to 6 employees initially, skyrocketing past 100. Was that a gradual thing, Bruce, or was that something that it seemed like for you just sort of happened overnight?
Well, I wasn't there back when there was only 4 employees, but when I started there was probably 70 back in 03, 04 time, and then it's gradually progressed up. There was a time where we may have lost a few over attrition, but for the most part, we hover right around 100, including our sales staff.
At what point did you guys feel like, okay, here's our identity, this is who we are? Because, you guys were doing something, as you said, Mike, you guys were doing something that nobody else thought of, and then once you guys were doing it, everybody else started to catch on.
Right. Actually, I always kind of felt that coming into it when I first got there, because we were the trademark of people. People were falling through us. We were a small little place in Titusville, and actually we had other bigger people come and say, hey, this is a cool niche. We actually do a lot, for a lot bigger, areas other than the Titusville area. So I kind of picked on and saying, hey, this is a pretty cool thing that we're doing here, because it's not just that normal mom and pop little place and that. So
it sounds like, though, there was maybe some family influence in this as it got started.
Well, it was all family. They were. John Homer started out, his little mom and pop, and then he took out a partnership. So, it was big family oriented.
Yeah, his dad came in, I remember back, 84, 83 years old, and he was still coming in every day with his toolbox.
Yeah,
working right alongside.
Yeah, great man.
Wow.
I remember,
What's the atmosphere like now, Mike? You kind of hinted with the Armstrong. Talk about that relationship and when they came in and how they really still wanted to preserve what has always been done here.
Sure. Well, in 2006, Armstrong World Industry bought us. So as being a little guy of 100 employees, going to at that point 15,000 employees, within a corporation, it was a little different and changed. But I think that kind of really helped us out, because when 2007, 2008, when the market crashed, they had a bigger purse, that they could hold, for a while. Keep us into, the game a lot more, because as being a little mom and pop place, with that ride there in 2007 when the market crashed, a lot of businesses went out, So it's a little change, but we're a subsidiary, so we keep our own name as Homerwood. Everything's the same. And we really try to make it still a family atmosphere.
But what's that say to you guys when Armstrong even recognizes that these guys are so unique, we don't want to damage that brand? They could easily have just come in and said, you're automatically Armstrong, or we're just going to move you.
And that wasn't the case. They just said, hey, leave them alone and let them do what they need to do. Now, they have done a lot of things that we had to convert to with safety and different things, which, we were in the safety game well before that, but they are world class in safety, and they're like, hey, you know what, we want to make sure everybody is going to go home the same way or better. And so they converted that atmosphere into us, but everything else, when they had bought us, it was like the Trojan horse, because they're in the commodity, 2 1/4 and 3 inch, and they didn't have anybody in their stable, was per se, as the higher end quality, and they wanted to get into that.
Wow. Bruce, you guys, the clients are just, you've got probably millions of pages of clients here,
Yeah.
but there's some pretty well-known clients you guys serve too.
We've done floors. Actually, right now, we're doing a floor. We did a floor for Brian Johnson. Those of you who don't know, he's AC/DC fame. Well, he is doing a small addition, so we're actually he sent in some samples, and we're matching that floor again.
Wow.
We've done
Which has
floors-
been difficult for you guys because that's been pretty much a highway to hell trying to get that project done.
exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes those
But-
customs
yeah. And we've done Jewel. We've done floors for Jewel, and that was great. She sent us pictures of her house and things like that. Paula Dean, Rachel
Really?
Ray, Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, we've done floors for him. We've
That's
done
incredible.
houses for the Wounded Warrior projects. We've donated floors for that.
So you don't have a wall of fame, you have floors of fame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, the stuff's incredible, and Mike, I think sometimes people forget that they can make a trip up and actually buy stuff from you guys directly.
Right. We actually have our seconds warehouse, and that where if you come in and we do sell stuff at our seconds that maybe it's a color that didn't match correctly or something of that nature. We would put it on our seconds and that. So and they could call up and talk to Carol, or I think Beth is the one. Yeah.
Yep.
We're here with Mike and Bruce. We're talking about Homerwood and taking care of business this morning. It is 20 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Continuing on, people listening are probably like, wow, that sounds like a great place to work. Are there opportunities for somebody to come in and work?
Yeah. I mean, we're always looking for, the next up and coming better, someone that really enthusiastic in that. So we're always hiring at different periods of time in that. So
We just had 6 new hires start Tuesday.
Really?
This week. So, yeah.
6?
yeah.
So we hear stories of, Joy laying people off around the holidays and, these stories. Here you guys, again, right before Christmas, bringing people on. When, for a lot of people, this would be a slow period.
Yeah, but for this industry is really strange. I came from a tool and die background, and when I came to the wood industry, when it would slow down, we'd hear stories about other companies the slowdown. We've been able to plug through the slow turn, the slow time of the year every year since I've been there.
Really?
I've never seen it really slow down.
So, Bruce, what I'm picking up from you is because of you,
That's
Things
right.
have
It's
been-
all
Yeah,
because of Bruce.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
is.
See?
See, I've raised the bar. I guess.
that's what it is. Well, we'll talk about that transition from tool and die into Homerwood. I mean, what is it about this company that you just said, boy, I'm committed to being here?
Well, it's the biggest thing is the family atmosphere, and our VP of Operations, Kathy Barker, she's phenomenal when it comes to this business. But yeah, when I came from Tool and Die, I was back in the early 2000, 2001. Tool and Die was tanking. I mean, it was really slow, and of course, I went through the whole unemployment thing. And Kathy, there was an ad, CareerLink, she was hiring through there, and I just answered the ad. I had no idea there was even a hardwood flooring facility anywhere near here. So I drove up, talked to her, and she called me back that afternoon and, offered me a job. And it was just going to be a filler. I was still interested in Tool and Die. I was just coming in and going, but, after 13 years, it just kind of grows on. It's huge family atmosphere. We got a great crew of people. I mean, everybody works well together. It's brothers, sisters. We have we have from single moms raising families all the way up to now we're getting to the point where we actually have people who have partial retired and they're working part-time.
Wow.
We accommodate their schedules so they can get the hours they need, and it's just a great place to work.
Speaking of accommodating schedules, and then Mark, I'll go to you. Mike, you volunteer as a firefighter.
I work for the city of Titusville, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
you
yeah, I'm
do-
a firefighter for the city.
Okay,
Of
well, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But anyways, there are times when you have to rush out, and there's no question.
Yeah, Kathy. Well, what Bruce had said about Kathy, you know, her husband was a fireman for many
That's right.
years and that, so she totally understands. And, you know, she, if I need to leave, she doesn't question that whatsoever in that. So, and if we actually have other volunteer firemen in our our area, and you know they have like a massive structure fire or something, if they need to leave, we let them go also.
Wow.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, that's a special place that understands the needs in a community. Go ahead, Mark. What were you going to?
I was going to ask, you know, when you have new people that come on, what kind of backgrounds are you looking at? What kind of skills do these folks need?
they, you know, we actually they don't require any skills. We'll train in-house. We do a lot of that. That's why, you know, actually sometimes it's better off because, you know, you get to train them to what you want them to know. You know, where you got some people that come in and they have that perception of they know it all and they're going to understand that. Well, we train within what we want them to understand about our grade and different things and that. So, and we do a lot of in-house mentoring and that. So, and we actually are constantly mentoring people doing that. So
You gotta watch what you say, Mike. No talent, no skill. I might be
You know,
looking at that saying,
and that's
there's
all right.
there's
That's
a
all right.
future there for
We'd
me.
accept your kind too.
No laughing over there.
I
No
think
laughing.
we might even have you on that somewhere. When
Yeah.
if you would call our number, that you would hear that. You know, that's where you start out. Is if you could answer the phone and talk. You
Right
know.
there, yeah. But you know, Bruce, for you, it sounds like there was just a lot of opportunities that sort of developed, and maybe it was a chance for again these folks to look at you and say, "Boy, you know what? Bruce has these skills. Let's get him into a different position, or let's work with people's talents."
Most of the positions that we have filled, besides maintenance, that's a whole different thing. You have to have a lot of electrical background and mechanical background and MacGyver background to be maintenance. Those guys are busy all the time. But our skilled guys, like our technicians and our machine setup guys, they've all progressed from working the line all the way up to the positions they're at. Our supervisors, same way. They started on the floor. They've worked their way up, and I was fortunate to be able to do the same thing. When we started the finish line and, the talks for 2006, 2007, I just made the comment that, I wouldn't mind maybe going up there and working that. I just wanted to go up and work on it. I had no idea that I was going to be the one that was going to end up running that part of the business. But
Now, folks looking maybe to work with you, how do they do that? Can they come to you directly? Is there a process?
Well, we go through. We actually hire through a temp service, Manpower. We actually will, if people come through and they can put an application in and talk to Wendy Wakefield. So they interested, and we're we offer different ways of doing that.
And again, if you just hired 6, you may not be hiring right away, but to have a resume on hand for you guys to go to and to look at is, if somebody's thinking about it, they should probably do that. At least run up and introduce themselves. Mike, this is the 100th time we've done a Taking Care of Business segment. But there seems to be a common theme with these businesses, and it's we can take any challenge head on. We can not only take it on, but we can handle it in-house. It seems like, again, Homerwood is a place that you guys kind of look forward to those challenges, and if there is something that comes up, you guys, instead of saying, okay, well, we can't do this, let's not do it, you guys find a way to get it done.
And that's it. We're going back to when we hired in with Bruce back in 2002. We brought in a couple other people from the tool and die industry, and so with that, we have our in-house lathe, mill, right? So if there's a part that we actually need, Bruce and other guys can come back, and our maintenance guys, they can make that part in-house also.
Wow.
And so we have a very talented team that way, and we have a lot of challenges every day. If it's equipment wise or specialties, customs and that. So yeah.
So a lot of talented people up at Homerwood, and if it sounds like a neat place that maybe you'd like to be part of their family, stop up, introduce yourself, fill out an application, and just wait, see what happens.
Sure.
Guys, we're going to be wrapping up here in just a moment. Give us sort of one last tidbit of information on Homerwood and how great of a company it is, and how important it is to the community.
You want to take it, or
You're doing a great job.
you know, we are probably one of the third largest manufacturers in this area. A lot of people, very small plant that people don't really know about. You know, high in the back in the industrial park there and that. But you know, Homerwood, to me, you know, it's a great place to work. You know, there's, you know, great atmosphere. The challenges are endless. You know, I mean, the times, but it's always that part there. You know, that you go in and you just drive every day and that, you know.
But it keeps you coming back, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
It does. And, you know, there's things that you think, oh, man, you know. But the people there, it's the people. We have people that have been there for 20-something years. You know, Bruce and I'm going to roll over my 14th year here in a couple months. You know, we've got people, probably half a dozen that will almost be 20 years here coming up here, you know. And, you know, people that have been longer than that, you know, and there's people that have been 10 or so. We have a good amount of people that have been there for many, many years and that. So, you know, that kind of tells you that, you know, we are family oriented that way. It's a very challenging job, you know, we have that, you know, but it's just a nice place to work.
Righty, guys, taking care of business this morning with Homerwood. Mike, Bruce, thank you so much for your time this morning. Merry Christmas, happy holidays,
Thanks.
Enjoy it, and best of luck. Keep us posted on what's going on up at Homerwood.
All right, will do. Thanks.
All righty. Final look at news coming up next.
If you ever get annoyed, look at me, I'm self-employed. I love to work at nothing.